Howdy everybody, what's going on? Welcome back for another video. My name is Brian, also known as OCD Mindful. Hey, today's question is interestingly one I've never addressed on any of my videos, and for the people who are interested in mindfulness, I'm sort of surprised that it hasn't come up sooner. And it's just my thoughts on mindfulness versus meditation. Are they the same thing? Can you sort of experience the benefits from just a general attempt at being mindful, or is it a requirement to meditate in order to be mindful? Is it a requirement to meditate in order to see those benefits? For me, my personal experience is yes, absolutely. The act of meditating, of purposefully setting out time to really focus entirely on the present, or to pick an anchor, and not only that, but to also focus on what your own mind is doing to get some insight into your own mind, happens during a seated meditation. I mean, it's just that's like mindfulness on steroids. And so I hear a lot of people now sort of advocating to be mindful in their OCD treatment. Let's incorporate mindfulness in the way that you respond. I think that's a little confusing. And I think that really you just get so much better at what we're talking about when we say mindfulness through doing the actual, what's typically referred to as Zazen, seated meditation. And I think for me, it's my number one priority every single day. I don't think I've missed a day, and I've probably been doing this now for over 10 years. I probably took my first course and started working with my first mindfulness teachers one-on-one and doing all the retreats and all that stuff. I maybe have missed a day if I've been really sick, and like too sick to even sit up because it was just like too overwhelming. But yeah, for most people, just trying to tap into mindfulness in your daily life without any of that formal practice, really, I think it means almost nothing for most people. Sure, you can try. You can argue that you can be mindful without doing formal seated meditation. But just, I think that that's where almost all of my benefits now continue to come from. And also, you learn more in the seated meditation that you can actually carry on into what's called the informal portion of your life, which is where you're not in formal meditation, just when you're living your life. And, you can start to become aware of sort of negative tracks of thought, of rumination, of overthinking, of catastrophizing. You can become aware of what's going on in your mind. And for most people, that's like 95% of the battle. If you are aware that you are engaging in some sort of, negative state of thought or state of mind, you now have a choice just by simply being aware of it. And as easy as that sounds, it actually isn't that easy, especially for OCD people. That OCD comes creeping in, every opportunity it gets. So yes, for the people who hate meditation because it's boring or you get impatient, the beauty of it is it's like a self-treating treatment for all of those problems too. One thing that I do is when I'm sitting and maybe I don't watch the clock anymore. I don't do guided meditations anymore. When I was getting into the practice of Dzogchen more recently, I did do some guided meditations because it was kind of a new angle. I shouldn't say kind of, it was a whole new angle. But for the most part, I don't keep a timer on and I don't do guided. And so there will become a moment where you're like, all right, this is boring. I'm getting impatient. I want to get out of this. That's just another feeling that you can bring mindfulness to. It's just it's another area of discomfort that you can bring your mindfulness and awareness, non-judgmentally, non-striving, all of the other attitudes. And also, I'm just a believer that doing the practice in and of itself is healthy for your brain. There's a lot of studies that show that. Now, that doesn't mean that you should do it because it's, supposedly good for you. The people who really get the most out of the practice just do it, if for no other reason than to tune into the present moment, and they're really not trying to get anywhere. If we get into some like heavy Buddhist philosophy, the the Noble Eightfold Path and the Four Noble Truths. The Four Noble Truths, the first one is that, all of life has suffering. And the second one is that suffering is caused by desire. So this is that thing. This is that very tough to thread the needle concept, because almost everybody starts meditating with this goal in mind of, I'm going to get better. I'm going to make some sort of progress. But so my advice is try to take 30 minutes roughly a day. I have a guided meditation on here that's maybe like 13 minutes long. You can try doing one of those and maybe then try doing a session. Maybe right after mine ends, you can stay there for another 10 or 15 minutes on your own and practice that mindfulness, bringing your mindfulness and your presence to the fact that this is boring. You want to get out of this. Bringing it to all the stuff that's going on. And then doing your best to take that practice you just did on steroids, into your your informal day-to-day activities. So yes, my thoughts, the meditation in and of itself is the most important part of my mindfulness practice. So I hope that encourages you to jump on board and to actually start a meditation practice, for no other reason than to just become good at tuning into what's going on in real time with an openness and an acceptance, and then just watching what happens. All right. As always, I appreciate all you guys. I have reached out to a couple other therapists. My first therapist, Harold Kirby, hopefully is going to do my next podcast. And Harold is amazing because he's an expert in so many other areas than just ERP. Like he's got so many letters after his name. And he's also a big mindfulness instructor. So I'd love to have an hour-long conversation with him about mindfulness, about how he's using it with his patients in a way that doesn't interfere with treatment. And so keep an eye out for that. And feel free to leave a comment, shoot me an email if you have any questions. If you want to learn how to bring mindfulness practice to your treatment and learn how to actually do meditation, you can shoot me an email at ocdmindful@gmail.com. And I will catch y'all on the next one. See ya.